The courtroom buzzed with reporters as Richard Hale, the disgraced deputy mayor, was led away in handcuffs. His trial had just ended in a guilty verdict, murder in the first degree. Detective Claire Monroe watched from the back row, arms crossed, face unreadable. He's gone. But something still doesn't feel right. Outside the courthouse, Zoe, Claire's hacker ally, leaned against the wall, hoodie up, cigarette lit. "You look like hell," she said. "I haven't slept much." "You should. You got the bastard." Claire shook her head. "No, I got a bastard. There's more." Zoe frowned. "You still think there's a cover-up?" Claire looked up at the gray sky. "The man Hale killed, that journalist, his identity's still a ghost. No records. No obituary. Nothing. Someone wiped him from existence." Back at the precinct, Claire opened a case folder marked Emily Carter. Her desk lamp cast a sharp glow on the documents. She pulled out the small plastic evidence bag. A micro SD card found inside Emily's apartment, hidden inside a candle holder. Zoe had tried decrypting it before the trial, but its encryption was military grade. Claire slid it into a secure laptop again. The screen lit up. Accessing. Decryption complete. Her heart raced. A single video file. She played it. Emily's terrified face filled the screen. She was whispering, her voice shaking. "If you're seeing this, it means I'm gone. I saw more than I should have. Hale, he wasn't working alone. There's someone else. Someone powerful. I overheard them talking. They called him the architect." Claire paused the video. "The architect?" Emily's voice continued. "They mentioned something about Project Silent Route. And someone named Miller. I don't know what it means, but check the tunnels under the city. That's where they meet." Claire's breath caught. Tunnels? She hit pause and ran a search. Miller plus Bellwood tunnels. Only one name came up. Henry Miller, deceased former city engineer, and founder of the original Miller's Club. Hours later, Claire and Zoe were crouched in the old records department of City Hall. Dust danced in the flashlight beam. Zoe rifled through blueprints and architectural schematics. "There," she said, pulling a rolled map from a tube. "This one's from 1967. Claire spread it on the table. Beneath the downtown district was a network of tunnels, old sewer lines, emergency bunkers, and something labeled in faded ink. SUB Basement 3 restricted access, Miller private. Why would a club owner need a private sub-basement? Zoe muttered. Claire's eyes narrowed. "Not for wine." Zoe grinned. "You thinking what I'm thinking? Gear up. We're going underground." The old utility tunnel entrance was hidden behind a boarded-up maintenance shack on the east side of Bellwood, sealed for decades, but Zoe's lockpicks made short work of the rusted padlock. Claire adjusted the flashlight on her jacket, her boots echoing on damp concrete as she stepped inside. The air was heavy, metallic, and dead quiet. "Still think this is a bad idea?" Zoe whispered behind her. Claire gave a half-smile. "Absolutely." They walked deeper. The city's rumble faded, replaced by dripping pipes and the buzz of old wires. Rats scurried in the shadows. Then they reached it. An old steel door labeled SUB Basement 3. Zoe hooked her laptop into the electronic panel beside the door. "This kind of security isn't just old, it's custom. Military grade. Like someone didn't want anyone to find this. Except them," Claire said with a final keystroke. The door clicked open. The space beyond was massive. A cold concrete room lined with old file cabinets, surveillance monitors, and servers humming faintly despite the dust, and the center stood a circular table surrounded by 5 black chairs. On the wall, in fading paint, Project Silent Route, Operations Center. Claire's blood ran cold. There were photos pinned across a corkboard, people from Bellwood. Judges, police chiefs, reporters. Zoe scanned a binder on the table, eyes wide. "This is a database of political manipulation. Blackmail, surveillance footage, falsified police reports. They were controlling everything from down here." Claire pulled a dusty envelope off the desk. Inside, photos of Emily and her last shift at Miller's Club. A man stood behind her in each frame, but his face was always slightly obscured. Claire held the photo up to Zoe. "We've seen him before." Zoe frowned. "Wait, that's not Hale. That's..." A sudden noise cut her off. A metallic clank from the shadows. Both women froze. Then, from the darkness, a voice echoed across the chamber. You should have stayed above ground, detective. The man stepped into the pale light. Black coat, silver hair, calm face, but eyes like knives. Claire instinctively raised her gun. Don't, he said. This place is rigged to blow. One twitch, and you're buried with your answers. Zoe slowly stepped behind Claire, fingers moving behind her back, texting an emergency ping to her laptop uplink. You're the architect, Claire said. The man smiled. I was wondering when that name would resurface. Emily was brave but foolish. Like the others before her. Claire gritted her teeth. Why kill her? Why any of them? He circled them slowly. Control, he said. Information is power, detective. Bellwood isn't run by politicians. It's run by the ones who feed them lies and erase those who know the truth. He nodded toward the wall of monitors. Every secret, every sin, every camera feed in this city routes here first. And it's mine. Claire lowered her voice. Not anymore. Suddenly, from the wall, Zoe's emergency ping blinked green. Above ground, backup had received the signal. The architect noticed it too late. The architect lunged for the control panel. Claire fired. He ducked, the bullet ricocheting off steel. Alarms blared. Red lights began flashing across the room. Zoe, move! Claire shouted as the architect slammed his palm on a detonator button. The floor rumbled. Dust fell from the ceiling. Somewhere above, metal twisted and groaned. Zoe grabbed Claire's arm. We have 60 seconds. The architect vanished into a side hallway. Claire hesitated, but Zoe yanked her hard. He's gone. They sprinted through the collapsing tunnel. Debris rained around them. Claire's boots slipped on wet concrete, but she kept moving, lungs burning behind them. The chamber exploded. A wave of heat and smoke chased them to the stairwell. They barely made it to the surface before the utility shack behind them erupted in a fiery blast. They rolled onto the street, coughing, soaked in sweat and soot. Claire looked back at the flames. He's still alive, she whispered. 2 days later, Claire sat at Zoe's apartment, exhausted, bandaged, but alive. Zoe had recovered a partial drive from the backup system they hacked before the detonation. Inside were thousands of files. Evidence. Corruption. But one folder made Claire stop cold. It was labeled Project Silent Root Core Files. She opened it. Inside were documents going back 25 years, surveillance on judges, journalists, activists, people who had tried to expose systemic corruption and then suddenly disappeared. Photos of the same man, the architect, in different roles over decades. He had been a campaign manager, a journalist, a consultant to the mayor, even a federal agent. Been everywhere. Zoe scrolled through the images. He reinvented himself again and again. No paper trail. No digital identity. Claire clenched her jaw. He was never alone. This was never just Hale. She paused. Then she clicked on a final document. Silent Root Protocol Phase 3. Contingency candidates. Claire's photo was in it. Weeks passed. The architect disappeared. No digital trace. No sightings. No hits on facial recognition. But Claire wasn't done. Now she knew the enemy, she had evidence. She had names. She had Zoe. And she had a new mission. Her apartment's wall had become a caseboard, strings connecting names, events, buildings, and departments. At the center, the architect. Her eyes burned from lack of sleep, but she couldn't stop. On the news, city officials claimed the explosion was caused by a gas leak. The mayor gave a speech praising swift action by emergency services. No mention of the files, or Emily, or Project Silent Root. But Claire would make sure the world heard. As she loaded her sidearm, her phone buzzed. A blocked number. She answered. The voice was quiet. Male. Confident. You've done well, Detective Monroe. But you're late to the game. Then silence. Claire stared at the phone. The hunt had just begun.